That is why I always want you guys to come so that we don't actually. So let me use this one. So let me. I wanted to. The reason why I didn't forget, I remembered was that I wanted to draw something. So it is like this. When x is 1, y is 5. And when x is 2, y is so something like you can see y is 4. And when x is 3, so we trace it to the line, you can see that, sorry, it's not raw, but take it like that. So you can see when x is 4, y is 2. You can see it here. So when x is 4, y is 2. And then the same way, when x is 5, then we have y to be 1, something like that. Yeah. So you can see that is why the line slopes like this. So when we change it, like for example, if let me clean this and make it the other way around. Um, this guy should make the eraser some kind of elastic. It's taking time, but I hope you are enjoying it. I'm very sure you guys, when you saw the graph, you started feeling happy. Yeah. Now you say yes, I'm now learning something sensible. The guy was always talking about functions and things which were not realistic, and now at least I get to know what the data science is all about. Yeah, so you don't worry, you'd be overwhelmed soon. I'll start giving you things which would actually break your heads very soon. Don't worry about that. just kidding. So now I want to. So you see the line is like this. It start from okay. Question Jacobina, yes, Jacobina. Okay, thank you for that. I would go over that. So what I was saying is that you know this is how we import. But I told the matplotlib is a library name, but a library has a lot of tools, and the tool we're going to use for plotting in the matplotlib does more than plotting. We will see that later. So we don't just say import matplotlib, but we say import matplotlib.pyplot, and the pyplot is actually, for let's say, like a section in matplotlib which is used for plotting. And after importing this, I told you guys when we were doing the calculating the square root, we said the square root function can be found in the numpy library. So we first call the library name, that is numpy, in this case numpy, then bring a dot, the function you want to use, just like this. So we want to use this. You telling Python that I want to calculate the square root of x, but the square root is actually the square root from the numpy, you know, library, and we got 11.18. But when we come here, we are coming to plot. And you can see we can plot two things on a line chart. So we have something on the x-axis, that is here, the x-axis. Let me try. This is the x-axis, and then we have the y-axis. Normally, when we're in primary school, we do this thing, and then we label them one, something like this. With that. Okay, so let me verify you welcome. So I was saying, so something like this. So we have the bricks, kind of like the grades. So this is, let's say, 1, this is say 2, this is a negative 1, something like that. This is negative 1, this is negative 2. Oh, it's weird, right? So 2. So if I want to plot something, I need the x-axis value and then the y-axis value. So for example, if I want to plot the point 1, 2, where the first one is for x-axis and then the second one is for y-axis, right? So the x-axis I look for 1 and then the y-axis I look for 2. So if I trace, you see it will be around somewhere here. And then if I look for another one, something like that, then I draw lines through them. That will be my plot. So the same way, if you want to plot, you need two lines. You need two axis. So in this case, we actually, let me clean this. We're actually using the x-axis and the y-axis. And I'm saying that I want the x-axis to be these numbers: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1 through to 5, and then the y-axis to be 5 through to 1. So it starts with 5 and goes 5, 4, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, something like that. And this is it. So this is the x-axis. This is what is going to be on the x-axis. So this is just like the list, the normal list. That was why I told you guys, just master the basics before. So those of you who have not been revising, I don't have a problem with you. I will not tell you to go and revise. You learn your lessons. And Jacobina, Jacobina, I'm not saying you are not revising. Sorry, with all due respect, I know you are a very good student, but it's just a general saying, and I know you are out of that, yes. But what I am saying is that this is how we use the math. So we imported the matplotlib.pyplot library, and we want to plot a line graph. So to plot a line graph, we use the function plot, and then you supply the x-axis first, then comma the y-axis. And then before we can use the plot function from the matplotlib.pyplot library, we have to first call the name matplotlib.pyplot. Then we bring dot, the function, just like numpy. So here the library the library name is actually numpy. That is why you just the numpy dot square root, where the square root is actually the function from the numpy. But in this case, our variable, our library name is actually lengthy, matplotlib.pyplot. You get it? So that is the library name. So don't be confused with the two dots. The first dot is actually part of the name. You can see top here. We imported matplotlib.pyplot. So don't confuse yourself. So this is actually the library name. Then the dot plot is actually the function or the method we're actually importing from there. From that. I don't know, Jacobina, are you fine? Okay, that's fine. I'm glad. Guys, do you have any question? I think you guys are shakos, so let me just. If you have a question, just unmute yourself and tell me. I'm just cleaning this when I finish. I will continue. Who is talking? Yeah, yeah, Wasumesh. Um, Funny enough, there is no shortcut to heaven, right? You are a Christian, right? Right? You are a Christian, right? There is no shortcut to heaven. You know that. You know that. That's true. That's good. I'm glad you know that. But here in programming, it's not like church, so there is always shortcut to something. That was the next thing I wanted to tell you. I always want you to experience the problem before I bring the solution, so that you never forget the solution. Right? Thank you for bringing that on board. I appreciate it. Oh, I'm tired. So sorry, I'm taking water. Hmm. Oh, guys, I'm really exhausted. Today was a very busy day. So all of us, I'm sure it's not only Bright who is asking himself this question. I'm sure Dawood, Jacobina, Zainab, all of us, Anamwa and Machi, all of you are asking, so why don't we get an easy way? It happens that there's always no shortcut to heaven, but in programming there is always a shortcut to heaven. So you can see that here the library name is already confusing Jacobina. That is why she asked, Jacobina, is that not true? It's confusing her because we have a dot here and another dot. It's so the way we can actually there is a way out, and that is what we call the alias, aka also known as. So you ask somebody, what is your name? Oh, my name is Fadila Mahmoud, aka the Poland girl, or aka Hajia Bintu. My name is Nana Kofi Adusei Bumangama the second of aka, or you can call me Nana for short. So you don't have to always call him Nana Kofi Adusei Bumangama the fourth of whatever whatever. You just say, oh, Nana Kofi or Nana. So his alias, that's like common name we always used to call. So there is the same thing in Python. So me for instance, my name is Mutawakil Mika A. Newman, and I know it is not easy for some people to most people to say. So my AKA is it. My alias is Muta MUTA. So when you ask me to meet me, hello, my name is Sandra Kuma. Like, okay, nice meeting you. May I know your name too? Oh, my name is Mutawaki Mikayo Nima. You'll be like, what? Then I say, you can call me Muta. You'll be like, oh, I'm, you know, kind of relieved. So there is that thing. And then the way you can give an alias to a library name in Python is just adding this as. So as NP. So if I do this, then when I run this, I'm telling Python that I am importing numpy, but I want to call numpy NP. So instead of writing numpy, I just called numpy NP. So if I come in, oh, sorry, if I come here, instead of typing numpy, I just type NP dot sqrt. I run, I get the same. So that is the easiest way to do. So the same way, if I come to pandas, I can actually say as PD. And if I come to matplotlib, the one all of us are worried about, I guess call it PLT. Import this as PLT. Now, it is alias. You can see I am giving some keys. It's not compulsory to call numpy as np. You can call it numpy, import numpy as n. And if I run and I come here and do n dot square root, I get there is no problem. But there is this universal stuff. We always programmers across the world, the globe want to use some uniform things so that if I write a code and you are to edit or you are to also add something to my code or something like we working together, you can understand my code and I can also understand your code. It's some kind of like something like uniformity. Just like we have uniformity in physics. The all the SI units are the same. So I will not write meter squared as maybe U squared. It's always M squared. M to the power two, something like that. Centimeters, the short form is um, centimeters. Short form is actually um, what do you call it? CM. So something like that. So all of us across the group, actually the globe. Hey, why? Across the globe. Yes, actually know that cm is a short form of centimeters and mm is for millimeters. So we always have same convention in programming in data science. So we always give the alias of np to numpy and pd for pandas and then plt for matplotlib. But you can use any other thing. I can say import matplotlib as PL or PL or P or LT or whatever. But for uniformity, we always do PLT. So when you watch any tutorial, not only me, anyone, US, Macas, whatever, Saudi Arabia, Oman, wherever, we use the same thing so that all of us we can have some uniformity and understand our codes. So if I run this and I come here, I don't need to do matplotlib or pyplot. I will say PLT. dot plot. Now I get the same thing, which is nice. I'm very sure Jacobina is happy now, right? And Mohammed Fozan, welcome. We've missed you a lot. Welcome. So guys, that is it. So Bryce, thank you for bringing it up. So when we come here and I do np.sql, you see I have everything on board. Now I was trying to do something. If I say the x-axis is actually going to be y, and then my y-axis is going to be x, and I run this, you can see I have this thing. Now, what do you see? So you can see that when so um, the x-axis is actually y, and then the y-axis is x, right? So when y is 5, when y is 5, let me see, I think it's all. So come. It's the other way around. I think he was supposed to change, but I don't know why. We will look into that. Don't worry. So when you change, let me try see. We will look more into it. Don't worry. So let's say if I want to do a scatter plot, who knows a scatter plot? If you don't know a scatter plot, you will know it now. The scatter plot is actually like dots. So instead of line, you see, so x is y x is 1, and y is 5. So you can see the dots at where they meet, something like that. So when you have data, you can actually do that, and it's always nice to do that. So this is at least you've seen how you can create some kind of visualizations. Let's see. So we are doing this with matplotlib, and let's say if I want to actually give, we will have a full session on visualizations and all those stuff, and along the line you will know that. But now I want to introduce the libraries to you. Yes, that is why I'm just rushing. So don't worry. So if you want to label the x axis and y axis, I'll just say um, x lab x label is actually, or let me so I don't want to bombard you guys, but let me try plt dot x label. So x label means I'm labeling the x axis. So let's call it x. And if you run it now, you can see that the x label is actually we have x here. So let's see it is actually called x axis. X axis. Let me spell axis for, and you can see we have x axis down here. So let's say we want to also for the y-axis, if you want to label the y-axis, you do plt.ylab or ylabel. You can use single quote or double quote. I told you before, Python doesn't care for that. Axis, and you run. Now you can see we have y-axis along the y. And if you want to label the title, you do plt.title. Make sure it's spelled title, don't be like me. So let's say let me call it graph of give it a funky name. First graph experience. Guys, how can you spell experience? Experience. Title. You can see the title is here. So simple, so awesome, something like that. So we do all this funky stuff with matplotlib, and now let's so like visualizations like that. So if you want to do something like that, that's how we do. So let's look at now we've looked at how to use matplotlib. We've looked at numpy. Let's look at how we can use pandas. Yeah. So pandas is so amazing. So to one way to actually use pandas is to import. If you want to, if when you have the data, like the data I sent and you downloaded it. So if you want to import the data, how do you do that? Now, importing the data is now you don't have the data in the Python here, so you want to have it here. So how do you do that? You use that using pandas. So now we know that pandas is actually called PD. We gave it an alias top here. Pandas as PD. Instead of typing pandas, we just type PD. And Python understand that PD is actually standing for um, pandas. And now this is how to import data. How to import data into Python or into Jupyter here, into Python in general. So to import data, we use PD dot, read underscore. So if it is a CSV, or then you provide the data name. So for example, so if you go back to your listing, the file I sent, the data I sent, you can see that it is called Ghana COVID-19 daily active dot CSV. So let me try copy this. Make sure you type it the same way it is. Otherwise, Wasudesh, it. So um, so let me copy it. I'm copying the name. I don't want to type. Guys, I'm lazy. So I'm actually providing it here. So Ghana underscore COVID-19. So make sure it is the same as the folder title. Something like that. So you can rename it. Maybe if you don't want, you can just do COVID-19. Now you can see there is a dot here. So dot and then something. So dot CSV. Now CSV is standing for. Let me see. Let me make it. So CSV is a short form for. So CSV is actually standing for the word comma separated value. So C for comma, V for separated, S for separated, and V for value. So it is a way of saying it is a data type. I'm tired, guys. That's why I'm fumbling. My TA will take the distance. So guys, forgive me. We move, right? We move. Yes, baby. So comma separated value. So C for comma, S for separated, V for value. So if you see the data, if you want to see whether you use PD dot read underscore, the underscore is the sign. If you don't know, the sign here underscore CSV. We're using underscore CSV because the data ends with. Oh, did I? Am I the one who typed it as SCV? It's supposed to be CSV. Who did that to me? T, you did that right. Oh, I typed my thing. So supposed to be .csv. So it is .csv. So it means it's a CSV file. So the CSV file is actually comma separated file, and this is how comma separated value looks like. Let me try opening it here, and maybe let me refresh this so that I have. Let me go back to it. I'm trying to refresh it. Okay, so it's here. Let me open, and I want to show you how comma separated values look like. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen and show that screen to you surely, right? So that you see have a taste of what comma separated value is. I know you guys see I didn't show you. I don't. I hope you can see my new screen now. Let me know. Raise your hand if you can see my screen. Okay, thank you, Nana Kofi Olise. Thank you, everyone. So you can put your hands down, guys. So that is it. Let me go. Okay. So this is how comma separated value look like, and why the name comma separated. So you can see that is actually the data is um, you can see we have confirmed, right? We have recovered, we have death, we have date, we have cumulative confirmed, cumulative recovered, cumulative death. active cases. Now, you can see confirmed is separated from covered with comma. So it is like, um, again, let me see. It is like rows and columns, just like Excel sheet, how it is. So every column to confirm is a column title. So one column is called, the first column is called confirmed. That is a confirmed cases. And then the next column is called recovered. The next one death. So each column is separated from the other using a comma, and you can see here. So there are commas between this thing, the comma, the titles, the column titles. And when you come here, these are the values. You can see that this value we have 2, then a comma, then 0, a comma, 0, then a comma, then a date, and a comma, 2, a comma, 00, then something like that. So this first number before the comma correspond to the first, column title here. So confirmed, the first value of confirmed is 2, second one is 2, 2, something like that. And then this one, the one after the first comma correspond to the recovered date, just like that. So you can see that date is actually the third. When you come here, the third is also, it's actually the fourth rather, and the fourth is, you can see it's a date. So something like that. It is a way to save date and to actually save data. And when you save it this way, it compresses it to make it very small so that you don't have a very big data. Yeah. So that is what a comma separated value looks like. Now that you've seen that, let me just share the go back to the what we're doing. So now that is why we have the .csv. So now I'm very sure all of us now know what comma separated value looks like. So that is why we are doing read underscore csv. Now if I do this, boom, we have an error. File not found, no such blah blah blah. Let me check and see, guys. Let me check and see before I lie to you guys, and I don't want to lie to my students, right? It's not good. So the thing is, I am not providing the actual file path. So it is in my home school directory at this folder. So I have to actually make it like this. I'll show you. So instead of just, I'm not providing the right distance. So instead of just saying Ghana, the title name, I have to provide a file path. That is where it can be located. So it can be located in my folder called homeschool. That is where I house all the boot camps materials. And in the homeschool, you can see after the homeschool, you have the forward slash. So this is what we call file systems in computers. So this is how. So if you have a folder and you save something in it, so the file path, that is the path to that, and this is how the computer sees actually locates the file. So the data set is actually stored in the homeschool folder. So I'm telling Python that go to the homeschool folder, and in the homeschool folder there is a file called Ghana blah blah. So the forward slash is actually telling Python that this is the folder and this thing is found in this folder. That is what it means. So if it was to be like in the homeschool folder, I have another folder in which let's say I created a folder called datasets, and in the datasets, that is where you find this. Then I would have done something like this: homeschool forward slash datasets, then forward slash Ghana, the file this thing. So but it is in the homeschool this thing directly straight. And if I run this, I still get an error. So it happens. So error to no such folder, blah blah blah. So what you have to do is now when you go to your home page, now click on the data and then you actually copy the file path straight. When you copy the file path, let me see. Let me try this and see if it works. So I have to bring the forward slash. So it's still there. So what if I click on another code here? It's still there, right? So it means I'm not providing the actual. The reason why I'm demonstrating all this to you is that I want you to know um, the errors you would encounter. This is beginner errors. That is why I'm experimenting all this to you. And I always tell you it isn't that I don't know, but I always want to, experiment things to you so that if you let me try to move it to a new folder, then I know how to. So let me copy the path and show you how it would practice. Okay, so let me do this and then see. So here, my filing system, I am using Linux. And for Linux, the file system is actually something. It's something weird. We deal with a lot of file systems. Probably you might not, encounter some of these. So this is how my file system is like. So I'm telling Python go to my home folder, and in the home folder, I have a folder called M with a kilo, and in that M with a kilo folder in the home folder, there's another folder there called home school, and in the home school, I want this. And if I run, you see now, boom, I have my data. So it happens like that. So what I wanted to demonstrate to you is that you would surely get an error. It is a beginner error because you will not provide the actual filing, file system for the Python or the pandas module to go and locate the file. So you would always run into a problem, right? So this is mine. If you want to know your file path, when you click on the data set in the library or anywhere you downloaded it to, right click on it and click on properties. You will see the path. Then you copy it and come and paste. That's all. Oh, who is encountering any problem? Who has been able to do it too? Let me see your hand. Or you practice afterwards, right? Will you practice afterwards or you are doing it? Right, I want to hear from you. See, are you practicing it right now or you will practice afterwards? Oh, okay. As I'm hungry, oh, extremely hungry, but I'll eat afterwards. We will close soon and I'll eat. Zainab, how is it going? No, 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 I don't have to break you guys. Do you think I should break you guys and eat? No, I don't think it's a nice thing. See, what do you think? I mean, someone, Kofi Adu said I should break and eat. I think it's not a good thing. We have to finish and I eat, right? Yeah, I didn't get you. I think I was off. No, that's not good. I just took some 2 spoons. It's okay. Let me get back. It's getting more interesting, right? See, how are you seeing it now? Yeah, my food is what? No, I won't faint. I'm not like that. Mm, I won't faint. Thank you, T. Zainab, how is it going? T, mute yourself. Okay, now let me go back to Zainab. How is it going? So, are you liking it? I think you guys have started. Okay. T, mute yourself or mute yourself. Thank you very much. So, guys, let's go back. Yeah, so you can see that our data is very nice here, and we have, you see, so we have confirmed, and on the confirmed, you can see these are the confirmed values. We have the recovered, these are its values. We have the death, that's the number of deaths. We have dates, cumulative, blah blah blah. So this is the data. You can see down here we have two, sorry, we have 233 rows, and then we have 8 columns. Now, if you don't know rows and columns, let me teach you. So these are the rows. Okay, yes, anamwa, anamwa. The same thing, exactly same, no change. The Gauta Ganama, like the same, the same thing, like, it is case sensitive. Small letter in computer, everything is different, yes. So you have to, the same thing. So guys, let's go back. So I was actually talking of, and now you can mute yourself. Um, and I'm please mute yourself. Thank you. So these are the rules. I was telling you guys, these are the horizontal ones are the rules. If you don't know, and then these ones are the columns. So we have one column here, another column here. We have another column, another column. So when you count them, we have 8. So when we have this kind of data, we call it, in this, when we have tabular data, like, Excel sheet. This is like Excel sheet, right? In Python, or in Python, we call it data frame. So you hear this a lot: data frame, data frame, data frame, data frame. Say after me: data frame, data frame. Yes. So you hear data frame. Data frame is just a table, like, just like Excel table, rows and columns. Let me see. So that's another data type. So we have list, tuples, and those ones. The bigger one is the data frame. So data frame is just like what we can see here: rows and columns put together. That is it. I think it's really self-explanatory. And let me clean this and then we go. So you can observe these are the values and stuff. Now I think we are getting more deeper, and it's getting more interesting. I can sense that from you guys. Mind you, if you didn't do the assignment, I'll kill you. The assignment I gave you. I'm being like my pre-tech teacher. He will not ask of the assignment until the last time, closing date now. Then he canes those who don't do the assignment. So if you know you didn't do the assignment, I'll cane you. Back to what I was saying. So now we have a data frame. This is a data frame. You can see all of them. So you can see some 0, 1, 2, 3 running down to. So these are the index. They are like the positions. And mind you, when we're doing list and tuples, I told you Python actually starts counting from 0. So you can see the first one has an index of 0, and then though it has 233 rows, but you can see the last one has 232 because it starts from 0. Oh, cool. Now you can see we have our data here, but we didn't save our data in any variable. So right now, if I want to access my data anywhere, I cannot save it. So all I'll do is I'll say I want to save it in a variable called data. So data is equal to the whole of this. So that if I let me run this, now you can see that I don't get anything. So if I want to see the data, I just have to actually just do maybe print. I can print the data, and when you print, you see it like this. It's not nice, so don't ever print. When you use the print function with data, just do data itself, and then you can see it to be in a nice system. Now, what if you can see we have all the data. Now we are moving more into the data science. Now you can see we have the data here. You can see we have some dot here because the data Python cannot, Jupyter Notebook cannot actually output all of them that length 232 something to you. So let's say you import and you don't want to actually see the entire data. You actually want to see the first few rows, like maybe the first 10 rows or maybe the first 20 rows. You don't want to see all of them, but you want to see just a few rows. Then this is how we do it. So how to see? So see few rows and now rows of the data. To do that, you have to call the file the data name. So we saved the data in the variable data. So data. Then you use the dot head. So dot head. Now just the head is a function, and if any function which does not stand on its own, any function you see, so if you do anything dot a function, that function is called a method. So a method is a function which cannot stand on its own. So always something dot, the method. But if the function something like print, you see, print can stand on its own. You will not do data dot print or maybe um, something dot print or something dot input. So this is a function and this is a method. Head is a method because it cannot stand on its own. You have to attach it to something, and then function stands on its own like print. So the difference between print and actually a method is a function, but a function that cannot stand on its own, which is always attached to something we call object. So data in this case is actually object. So a method is any function we cannot stand on its own, and um, it is attached to an object. Then an object is just something. Anything in Python is object. So this is actually called a method. So you've seen 110. So if I do this and run, you can see that I got the first five rows and I don't see the. So it's showing only the first five rows. So data name, the data set name, and then dot head. Now I see the first five rows. Now in here you can specify the number of rows you want to see. So if I put one here, I mean I want to see only one row, and you can see I get only one row. If I put 10 here, I see the first 10 rows. You can see that. And if I don't put anything here, then the default number is 5. So you will see the first 5 rows. So the first 5 rows is what you will see if you don't specify any number. Yeah. Which is very nice, right? Now let's look at if I want to see the last values. So last few values or last few rows of the data. Now just like this, so the data name, instead of head, you do tail. So your tail is your tail. Your tail is your tail, your head is your head. So head is top and then tail is down. So if I do tail, the same thing. So the default number is 5. So if you don't put any number here, you you get the last five rows. So you can see it start from the last one is 232, then 231, 230. So you can see it start from 228 to 230, something like that. But if you specify, let's say 10, then you will see the last 10 rows of the data set. So something like that. Which is very, very nice, right? Yeah. It is very, very, very interesting. I am loving it. I never knew this today. It is today I am learning this, and I am super, super impressed. Right. So, Aduko, you don't take it personal. you know, I'm happy, and I hope you're happy too. Now, let's look at you have the data. You want to see the even before that. Now, I want to. I'll be using common terms like rows, columns. Those are common terms for the common people. It's like a science student when you no any course when you go to when you go to the SHS first and you go and hear terms like science, and then you go and you hear things like um, ions, atoms, and you know um, these molecules and everything. And you come home and you want to, kind of flex your mate who didn't go to high school after completion. You tell the person you are like an atom in my face. If you don't take care, I will just smash you and put you, maybe transform you into a molecule. They'll be like, hey, this guy, if you don't take it out, kind of neutralize you, something like that, like use the terms and be like, this guy is, that's something very nice. When an engineer is speaking, they'll be like, um, they'll be speaking their terms like bright, you know, and when a policeman is speaking, they have their terms. Hey, stop, get down, park well, I'll process you to court. They understand their distance. And if data scientist is also speaking your terms, that will differentiate you from, the ordinary people who are not in your field. So we don't see like columns and rows in data science. The columns are actually these ones, right? So these are called features or variables. So the columns are features. I don't know, let me add it here. The columns are actually called, features. So a column is a feature of if it is more than one features, or you can call it a variable if it is one, or variables if it is more than one. That is for now. Let's keep these two. Along the line I'll be using them. And the rows, we call them, the rows are actually called observations. They are the observations. So you will see me all the time saying the observations. The reason why we call them observations is like it means that when you take the depth, at this point we observed zero depth, and here we observed 124 recoveries, and here we observed 157, confirmed cases. That is why we call them observed. And here we observed active, 1,146 active cases. And mind you, this is an actual data. That is Ghana COVID-19 data I got from the Ghana Health Service website. So it is actually a real data you are playing with right now. This is the COVID data of Ghana. Yeah, so this is how it works like. And we will use this, we will see how to visualize and all those things, and you will love it. So now we've seen, so rows are actually, I'm not going to use rows again. Rows are called observations, and then the columns are called features of variables. I'll use them interchangeably, yes. And if don't be confused, that is why I just paused to tell you that. So now let's say you have a data, you imported the data. Very soon we will start using a data of 1 million rows and all those stuff. I have um the Ghana population census, the 2021 one. I have the data set. I have 10% of the data set, around 3 million data sets. So the observations, the rows, are around 3 million. So you can see it's very, very huge. So when you have that, you want to know the size of the data. The size, again, size, you mean how many rows and how many columns, how many features, how many observations. Now, to know that, you don't have to come and be counting, okay, one, two, three, four, five. We don't work like that. So to check the size of the data, and data sets are the same. So data or data sets. The size of the data set is actually called in data science called, we say it is a shape. The size is a shape. So the shape, your shape, the ladies, they say they want Coca-Cola shape, right? And the guys, you are champagne. You are champagne. The shape is champagne. Or the guys are champagne bottle shape. And the ladies want Coca-Cola. So shape, so shaping data science means the size of, the data. So Bakar is actually camel shape. It is not champagne shape. So um, the shape of a data set is actually the size, the number of features, and the number of, observations, the number of rows and columns the data has. It's actually what we call the shape. So from tomorrow going, I'm not going to say rows and columns, I'm not going to say the size of the data, I'm going to say the shape. So to know the shape of the data, we actually the same way just like we did head. So the data name, data set name, which is data dot use the shape. Now here you don't end it with open and close parentheses. You just do data dot shape because it is an attribute. An attribute is it for functions or for methods. For methods, you you end it with open and close parentheses because you can actually pass something, parameters in here for it to do something. But for attributes, you just write the name, and that one it is like predefined. You cannot modify it. So along the line, we would actually learn more about that. We know that if I do, for example, data dot if I do something dot something and I don't end it with open and close parentheses, then that thing which is ending like this is actually an attribute to this. And this one is actually called object. So this shape is an attribute to an object called data. In this case, the object is actually a data set. So if I do this, you can see we have this 233 comma 8. Now, what is this? So the first one is actually the rows, the number of the observations, the number of observations in the data or the data has, and then this is the number of columns or features or variables the data has. So we can say that our COVID data has 233 observations and then 8 variables. I hope it is very, very distinct. Now, and one more thing is that if we want to see kind of more like more information about about the data. So let me say more, uh, explore more information about the data. Then we can do data dot info. It is a method. Info is a method, so always we end it with opening close parentheses. Put it in your head, and this is what we have. Now it's look messy. I know before I started programming is hard. Programming is oh please programming is never hard. Programming is very nice. Let me explain this to you. So you can see we have this thing top here called class. So meaning what class it is. And then you can see it is pandas, and we know that pandas is everything we use for data. Dot core, meaning it's a core thing in pandas. Dot frame, forget about all these shit. The dot core and then the dot frame Yahoo sheets. But the most important thing is data frame. It's telling you that this is actually the type of this is called a data frame. And I told you before, data frame is simply collection of rows and columns, features and observations like we have here. So you can see we have so the data set when it is in this form, tabular, it is in table like this, and it is called a data frame. And then um, that is what this is telling. So it is telling the type, the data type of it, which is called a data frame. And then you can see range index. Range index is just the index, the range of the number of observations. So it is telling you that it has 233 entries. And you can see when we did the dot shape, we saw it here, meaning that the observations it has 233 rows. And you can see it starts from 0 and ends at 232. That will give you 233 observations. In the data columns, so data columns is actually the number of columns or the number of variables the data has. And then you can see that total 8 columns, meaning that we have 8 columns. Um, that is it. And when we come here, we can see so the first column is called confirmed. The second column is called recovered. The third is dead. In the way they are arranged here, that is the same way they are actually arranged here. Something like that. So now knowing that we so we can see we have 8 columns. The first one is 0, so 0 to 7 will give you 8 features. And then we can see we have non-now and then count and data. Now, these are very important. With time, we will know more. But now you can see that this we have 233 now. What this means is that it is telling you, sometimes you can have the data, although it has 233 observations, but some of the rows will have some of the data or some of the entries missing. So let's say we didn't enter these dates confirmed cases. So the here will be dash or maybe no value. So to know that the data, how many entries, is it having some missing values? We use this to check. So when you come and you know that the data set has feature size of 233, so you expect every number here to be 233. That is, every column or variable should have 233 observations. But if there are missing values, then we're going to, this number will not be up to. It will be less than 233. So that is what this is telling you. This is telling you the number of you know observations there in that particular variable. And here we have 233, which is equal to the shape of the data. So meaning that none of the data has missing values, which is a good thing. So it is up to date. Now when we come here, D type means data type. What data type? So this is an integer. So int 64 means integer. And let's go and see. You can see that confirmed is actually the number confirmed cases. So a case cannot be maybe 1.5 cases. No. So we have maybe the cases is actually the number of people who have had. So today, how many people got COVID? How many? It's supposed to be whole number. So 2 people, 3 people. So later we will know more about that. So if it is not int, then you know how to change it. So when we come to recovered, how many people recovered? It should be a whole number. That is why it is also int. When we come to death, how many people died? 24 died. And that is a whole number. How many then the date is actually a string. So in data types, anything string is it data is date is not a number. You can see date here. So 11th, that is November 27, 2020. We had 98 active the recorded confirmed cases. Recovered was 97, and then the total accumulated this thing is 51,667. And then the total recovered was actually 50,000 this thing. Total death was 200 as at that time. And then the active cases was just 797, something like that. And so you can see that anything which is not a number is actually going to be called objects, not string here. String is Pythonic, where data science we call it objects. And then if it is decimal, you will see float, the same thing, float. So that is what it is telling you whether you have the right data set, the right data type. So if, for example, you come here and you see that maybe um, confirmed cases is actually float, you will see that no, it's not supposed to be float. It's not supposed to be decimal because you cannot have 20.3 or 20.4 or point something active cases. So I have to convert it to integer, something like that. And then when you come here, you can see that it gives you a summary. So the data types. So it is telling you that we have 7 of the variables are actually integers. They have data type of integer, and which is true. And only one has an object. So if you had another data type inside, you would have also given it here. This is like a summary of the data types. Memory usage, that is the size of the data set, and it's actually 14.7 plus kilobytes, which is very small. So that is it, guys. That is how we can actually explore. Let me use the 5 minutes left to actually um, now let's look at how we can actually do some visualizations. So you see top here we did some scatter plot and this. So let's see. I'm trying to now before that let's see how we can access a particular column. So how to access the access is the CC access a particular variable to bracket feature. That is, if I want a particular column, see right now I am just seeing all the columns. If I want a particular column, then what all I'll do is I'll do the data frame name. So the entire data name is called data, and then I do just like we do for sets. Sorry, list. So you see the list name and then opening close what do you call it? square brackets, and then you provide a range. But here we don't provide a range, but we provide a column name, that is the feature name. So if I want to see the confirmed, I'll do confirmed. So the data frame name, square bracket confirmed. And if I run this, you can see that I have the values here. You can see with the stuff, and you can see it corresponds with what we have here. Oh, someone is now coming on. I've forgotten the name for my own classmates. I'm frustrated. I'm stressed. That's why. Welcome, along. You came very late. We are about closing. Don't worry. You'll get something. So um, if you want to access back to what I was saying, if you want to access a particular um feature in the data frame, then this is how we do it. So I can also access, I want to say, I don't want to access all the variables. I want the first five. So I can do the dot head on it. And you can see I have the first five. You can do the dot tail and that's the last. Just like we do for the data frame. That's all. So the same way, if I want to plot, let's say I want to plot and see, a line plot to see how, the confirmed cases were going, day in, day out. So I'll just do, I have to call it, you know, I have to call it first. I'm lazy, let me see, plot a particular variable in a data frame. And I know you know a data frame. A data frame is a data is a variable or feature. So all we do is we have to call it first, and then if you want to do line graph, just do dot plot, and let's see. So this is how it works. You can see that it started very small and it was going up and up, and up. See the spikes and everything. Very nice. But this is how the confirmed cases day in day out was actually moving. Now we can see the x-axis is actually not a date. It's actually just some numbers, where the y-axis is actually the cases. Now we will look more into how to make the x-axis the date, and then those things probably tomorrow when we meet. Yeah. So I just wanted to, and let's say if I want to create a histogram, let's say the same confirmed cases, I want to create a histogram of that, and we will look at how to label the axis and all those stuff. So if I want to create a histogram, I do dot hist. Hist is actually a short form of histogram, and I run, and boom, you can see the histogram of how everything was. It's nice, right? So we will look at how to actually um, do more visualizations later tomorrow, and we will do more things too. The same way, if you want to actually calculate the square root, or let's say the mean, average, you want to know the average confirmed cases. So all we do is to calculate average confirmed cases. So we can first call that particular column, and then we do dot mean. Or, oh, let me see. So we do dot mean, and you can see that. So on average, we record, or the mean um, confirmed cases was 221.7, which we can run it to, since it is supposed to be integers, you can say it is 222. So on average, we expect 222 cases. And let's see if we can have the variance. So we have to do, let's do the standard deviation. STD. Yeah. Standard deviation is only 241.39. We'll look more into that. So I just want to show you some stuff, and I hope you guys are happy. Guys, we've done a lot today. We've talked about libraries, we've talked about how to import data and stuff. Now, the last thing I want to talk of is here, because it was ending with the data was a CSV data. That is why I actually did PD or you tomorrow will talk more about that. Yeah, I don't want to bombard you. Just take this. When the data ends with CSV, we import it using pd.read underscore CSV, the provided path. And tomorrow we will look more into the other stuff we can do. So guys, that is all for today. Let me take your questions and then we wrap up. I don't want to overwhelm you with a lot of things. So let me take questions, fast fast. Let's do I'm hungry. I'm very hungry. I don't want to faint. My teeth and I'll faint, but I won't faint. So let's and today is not actually I don't want to go much into it so that I start bombarding you. I know you have to take your time to unpack this stuff. So if you have a question, just raise your hand and I call you. Then we go. Let's use 5 minutes for it. Okay, Bryce, go ahead. Okay. So what do you and did you does it have the is it ending with slash Ghana COVID-19 data blah blah? Are you sure? What is the error saying? Scroll to the last and see. You will see maybe key error, attribute error. What does it say? Yeah, probably you didn't provide a listing. Make sure you move it. Where did you save it? Okay, so do you have another folder in that Jupyter? No, which folder in the Jupyter library? The folder you created for this bootcamp for. Okay, and did you open the Jupyter notebook in that folder? Where? No, I mean, did you open your Jupyter? So when you opened your Jupyter notebook first, you just clicked new, Python 3, then that was all. So that's not how we do it. That's why I told you guys from the beginning. Be create a folder. Otherwise, I can show you the way out, but it's not the best practice. Your things will be scattered. Always anything related to this bootcamp, create it in the bootcamp folder. So when you move to the bootcamp folder, you create when you open the bootcamp folder, I don't know how you saved it, but when you open it, click and it opens, then you go to the top there and click on new Python 3 this thing. Then that Python notebook will be in that particular folder. So when it is in the same particular folder, you don't even need to provide the parts like home slash slash. If you have the data set and then the notebook in the same folder, you just have to provide the data set name, like maybe Ghana COVID-19 daily active.csv, and it should work. Otherwise, since you are now starting out, it would be a challenge for you. You get it? You always, yeah. So I hope that works. Yeah, but if it doesn't work, you can just text me so that we fix that. Yeah, you're welcome. Any other question? And Rashad, don't worry, I'm fine. You can ask me all the questions. I have some few minutes to eat. I'm cool. Mm, yeah, yeah. So, like I said to everyone, make sure from the beginning of the course, remember I told you guys, create a dedicated folder for it. Because I knew where I was heading towards. And mind you, when anything related to this bootcamp, make sure it is in that folder. When we starting, when you open your Jupyter and you want to create any new notebook for this bootcamp stuff, just put it in that folder. So that when you are doing importations and stuff, you won't suffer. Otherwise, rather, you will suffer, right? Mm. So don't worry, it's a beginner sickness. We all ran into that. When I was learning way back 2019, I used to get stuck like that. So it's fine, right? You'll be fine. Guys, any other question? Any questions? Okay, so if you don't have any question, I'd like to call it today. And it's been very nice having you on today. I hope you've enjoyed today's class. And all I'll tell you is, take your time. The start of everything is hard. Just take your time. You'll be fine. Go through this thing. If you have any error, you can just find DM me or probably search on the internet or maybe write it down tomorrow. When we come, you tell me more about that. And practice leads to perfection. If you don't practice, you're never going to be perfect. So I'll urge you all to practice. Please practice. Practice, practice, practice. Thank you very much. So see you guys tomorrow if you don't have any question. And once again, my apologies. My apology for not communicating to you guys early. Today has been a very hectic day, and I like you guys. You are my G's. You are so awesome. You check up on me. People called me. Hello, how is it going to be? I was really, really appreciative. Thank you guys. And I'm sorry once again. Forgive me. It will not happen again, right? So I hope I'm forgiven. See you guys tomorrow. Bye bye. Go and enjoy your numpy pandas. Matplotlib. Sure. My TA, come to my DM. You have a kiss.